Welcome to DT Madness, Chronicles from the Third Life, Episode 34, November 19th, 2022. So glad you could make it. Oh man, that intro music never gets old. Got that special groove. Well, today we're getting back on the gratitude train. You might be able to tell from the voice or from me sipping my red rooibos tea mixed with a little ginger that I got a little bit of the crud. Not too bad. I haven't been sick in a long time, so I guess I can't complain. Nothing too major, but excuse me as I clear my throat. That used to be a song back in the day, didn't it? Let me clear my throat. What was that one? Okay. Um, so yeah, maybe I'll get a lot of distracted today. But as I drink my tea, I'm sitting here in the sun, shine in the nook. Um, got a mixed up list of things that I'm grateful for today. No halftime in today's episode, so we'll just go straight through with some of the things that I would have included in halftime as a part of these. So let's get to it. Three things that you are grateful for today. And three things that I'm grateful for today is that the yearly tea party up in Statesville, Sydney and Sarah are picking up my mom, and they're headed up to Statesville to see my mother-in-law. And so the four of them are all dressed up with their makeup and their fancy hats and all that kind of stuff, and they're going up to enjoy a tea, fancy tea up there. And so I'm grateful that they are getting to do that. That my mom is able to get out of the house for a little bit. Um, and have all that time together. The second thing then for me is that I am here with a day with Isaac, and so I think that if he ever wakes up, here we are. It's 10:54 in the a.m. on this Saturday, and as I came in to record, he was still snoozing, so I ain't mad at him. Um, but I think we're gonna watch Thor and what is it? Thor and the Love of Thunder, or however that one goes. Compare it to Wakanda. I have not seen that Thor yet, so I'm excited to spend the day with Isaac, and then perhaps just sitting out in the afternoon sunshine on the deck, probably with my tank top on and catch some vitamin D because it's so warm the way the sun shines directly onto my back deck. So I'm grateful for those three things today. The last time you laughed so hard you cried, I don't know really exactly, but most of the time I get that hard laughing, it's when we're on the couch watching The Voice or watching maybe C19. Um, that may be it the other night when Sam and all his friends were here and we were watching C19 and we tried to call in to be the 19th caller and we were basically every single caller. Um, but yeah, just some of the things that they say, some of the ways that the kids respond to each other. Those are the times where I get to laughing so much. Although Milne telling stories during lunch gets me too. Three people you were grateful for. I took the easy way out on this. I guess I shouldn't say it that way. But but dang man, like Sam, Sydney, and Isaac, like I don't know, what a group of kids, man. And like I do understand when the Avett brothers sing in their song "Murder in the City," talking about two different brothers at that point. Of course, with my three, like the line is, "I'm proud of you and I love you. I love you and I'm proud of you both," or "I'm proud of all three of you," but in so many different ways. And they're three different kids, but they love they love each other. They love life and the world and existence, and they love to laugh and play and be kids, but they also understand gravity and gratitude and grace. Like I just, man, I'm grateful for them. My proudest moment. That this one was tough. I had to sit and think for a long time, and I what I want to say here is that it always gets better. I know the feeling of wishing time would stand still. I really do. When I think about where my kids are, and I post these pictures on my Insta stories a lot from years ago when they were little, and I I love babies and I love that phase, and my colleagues at work, they have babies now, and I hear them saying those kinds of things, and I get it, but it really does just always get better, even the low parts, like, so I don't know how to quantify proud and make it proudest. I've been thinking about that with love, like I don't think that there are degrees of love. One of the phrases that we say is, I love you so much. And I'm not trying to be trifling here. I'm just saying love is all. It's eternal. You don't have a choice. We are in love. In love. We are in love. That's where we are. But this one was about proud, right? Okay, oops. So yeah, I have lots of the good kinds of pride every day. So anyway, three things you love about your favorite place. I had to go with the river, and the sparkles, the way the sun shimmers off the water, the way the river strikes me when I round this bend. Like, there's this, I just come around the bend, and I think about how the river, it's called the Broad River, and it is really broad at that point. And there's a waterfall, a really long waterfall. I mean, not deep, but it's just so beautiful, man. It's just magic and glory, and it's every single time, the way the water appears like mercury when it's cloudy. Um, and I've been thinking about the immensity of it all in terms of the whole water system, and where does this water come from, and what mountain does it start on, and how do we get it into our drink, anyway. The next one is fear you are tackling. I think that my fears maybe boil down to a fear of not being in control. I think that that's where I'll say this. I got on the waiting list for the therapist. It took me. Did I talk about this last week? I can't remember. But the person I'm willing to tell my deepest, darkest things to, I didn't I didn't want to make a phone call. And so I finally just texted, and even that took me about 3 hours to hit send. But anyway, I did, and she's texting me back after she got back from her trip, and so if there's a cancellation, I'll get to go in, and so I'm looking forward to talking about some of this stuff. But I think all of the things maybe boil down to me wanting to just cling, my fear of letting go. I believe these things in my head, I believe that everything's right. So just, hold tight. I believe in the goodness with a capital G. I believe in those things, grace and love and life. But I guess, I don't know if it's just me, but I still cling tightly. And so because of that, I have fear when things are out of my control, like health, or longevity. I mean, I can't control other people, to a certain extent, um, and circumstances. So anyway, it's a fear that I'm tackling, and I guess it's the big one. But I think I mentioned this again last week too. But it's the first maybe time in my life where I believe that letting go is possible, uh, with continued practice. So a failure or rejection you are grateful for. I've spoken about Davidson and my failure there, and um, I'm grateful for that, because it has me where I am now. I haven't talked as much about Broad River Church and when we were there, and kind of the failure or the collapse of that 5 years ago, and that's still fresh wound to me. Maybe because of this control thing, in the ways that I wish I could have salvaged things, the ways I think things could have gone. But I am moving towards gratitude for that failure, that rejection, which that had some rejection in it too. That's tough. But, because maybe our our focus wasn't the right end. Maybe we were focused too much on community itself as the goal. I don't know. I've thought about this for 5 years and never really tried to express it, at least not lately. I've just kind of pushed it to the side because that's not a thing that I can control. See how that works. But I'm grateful for all the I'm grateful for all the things, and I can't wait to listen back for how that sipping tea and swallowing sounds on the podcast. Forgive me. Hopefully next week I'll be better. But I am like failure and rejection and falling down. That's it. That's life. Um, I've got this morning practice. I've talked about it where, at the end of my stretching and yoga type routine, I sit and meditate some, and at the end of it, I breathe in Yahweh, Christos, and Ruah, and at the end of that, I smile and begin to reflect on the things that this day holds. And it's very, very effective and very helpful for me. But just yesterday, as I was smiling and thinking about getting to go and reading to the kids at Springmore, the second graders, my mind wandered to how awesome that looks. Like I could be teacher of the year for doing these kinds of things, and it's humiliating for me to have to admit that, but that's the thing. It should be humiliating. It should humble me. And so I'm grateful for my failure in allowing my thoughts to wander towards my own selfishness when that's not my purpose. That's not the purpose of reading to those kids. And just a silly one. These are the types of things that would show up in a halftime. Um, I've been teaching for 20 years now at Crest, and every single morning I go in, I open up my door, and I don't know, at least once or twice a week, I'll turn the key the wrong way. You got to like turn it to the right to unlock it and then turn it all the way back around to the left to lock it back. Or I'm not even confident that that's accurate the way that I'm describing it. But I've done that hundreds, thousands of times over the last 20 years, and I still don't get it right sometimes. And so that keeps me laughing at myself, realizing not to take things too seriously. Next one is three songs you love, and I could never. I mean, music, man. So I'll just preview next week's podcast. Is going to be called "Songs for Life," or maybe "Songs of Life." I'm not sure. Of course, LYFE, but it's going to be a journey through songs as I think about which songs marked kind of different eras and stages of life. So anyway, the next one is something in your daily routine that you are grateful for. And this one, I'm a routine guy, and so there's plenty that I could have chosen from here. But as the bell rings in the morning um, at 7:40 to let everyone into the building, Sydney rides with me to school. She'll be driving soon, but um, we walk up the hallway. I walk up to my box, and it's along the path that she goes, and so we walk together up to her first period class, which is Mr. Good's class, and I get to see Tytrell every morning. Say good morning, Tytrell. I get to see him. I usually get to say good morning to Miss Merritt, and she is usually smiling at me. Good is never quite there yet. But as I walk and leave Sydney at the door and head on to my teacher mailbox, then we fist bump each other, and I say peace, bro, to her. And I checked with her to make sure that saying bro was okay, and she's fine with that because she says it too, just language. And so that's a part of my daily routine that I'm grateful for. Um, what is the best advice you have ever been given? Again, so many to choose from here. So I talked before about how my dad says keep your butt behind you. So I won't restate that one, but I'll just use another one that he's told me. Usually it applies to fixing things, but it applies to life, and that's don't force it. Don't force it. Holiday traditions that you're grateful for. I like getting the Christmas tree. We'll get ours right after Thanksgiving, maybe Thanksgiving Day. This year we like to get ours up early. We like to get a real tree. excuse me. And it used to be one of the most stressful things in our marriage is trying to get the Christmas tree straight, but we've pretty much gotten that down now. In fact, I think the last couple of years I've turned that over to Sam anyway. And so getting the Christmas tree, and getting that set up and playing Kenny and Dolly and playing, you know, Behold the Lamb and playing Charlie Brown's Christmas and Mariah, and who is it? Martina McBride, What Child Is This? All of that kind of stuff. I love that. It's the scavenger hunts that we do along with that to open up presents for our kids. Like our traditions have kind of changed. We've never really hung too much on it has to be Christmas morning or it has to be this, it has to be that. But as our families are changing, our traditions are changing up a little bit, and certainly COVID had some impacts on that. But we set up a scavenger hunt for the kids, which typically leads to a trip that we take. I guess I'll confess right now that I have not tried to figure that out for next year, and so I guess the kids know that I don't know what their Christmas present is going to be this time around. But then the other holiday tradition, and there's other ones, but Sam's birthday, he's a New Year's baby, and he was born on January 1st, right after midnight down in Florence, South Carolina. You have to listen back to hear that story. But he, we celebrate the New Year and we count it down, and we count it down on Happy New Year. But it's also Happy Birthday, Sam. And so usually we have a fire, or we've gone to the Avett Brothers. I don't know what we'll do this year for number 19. Three things about your body. Uh oh, watch out. Oh man, what do you say? I'm getting old, man. 45, almost 45. But when I went to India back in the day before Sarah and I got married, because Sarah worked in an orphanage there for a year for a man named Samuel Thomas. Um, but when I went over there and was playing around and serving the orphans some there in India in some of those compounds, they said I had beautiful cat eyes. You have beautiful cat eyes, Uncle. Is that a good accent? I think that was pretty good. Um, so I'm going to go with my cat eyes. My shoulders, I'm gonna have to say, I've been working out. I've been doing the push-up ladders, been doing the side arm raises. About to get back into the Y because it's cold, um, and start expanding my workout routine so I can get buff like Isaac. But I got this tattoo, man. I got this tattoo all on my left shoulder, so I got to keep it real. I can't let it get flabby over there. And man, I'll just be honest with y'all. My toes are exquisite. They're just, they're just beautiful. They're just perfect. Something from your childhood that you were grateful for. Again, plenty of things to choose from. I'm gonna go with my friend and former Little League coach and neighbor and second dad, all that kind of stuff growing up. Ansel Harmon, rest in peace, Ansel. Um, but when we played Little League Baseball for the Red Sox, and we dominated people, but he kept our averages not on base hits, or anything like that, but if we made contact. So if we put the ball in play, even if we got thrown out, it counted as a hit in his book. So, I mean, we hit like 800, 900, in his eyes. And it wasn't like a participation trophy type thing. I mean, you could consider that if you want, but we were really good. And we were really good in part because we focused on putting the ball in play. And if you put the ball in play in Little League, you're going to get on most of the time. And we did. We destroyed people. Best Little League team in the history of Boiling Springs Little League, I would argue. I'd love to have maybe after in glory we can go back and create some of those best of all time matchups. And I think the '90 Red Sox will destroy everyone that's ever come through this area. But Ansel, counting, making contact, putting the ball in play, and that's a good life lesson too. It's not just about home runs and triples and doubles. Like it's about showing up, putting it in play, doing the work, doing the practice. Okay. Favorite quote that has helped you? Henry David Thoreau is my all time favorite quote. I would think. I think if I had to rank them, I'd put this one at the top. But what does he say? What greater miracle could take place than for us to be able to see through the eyes of another, even for an instant? And so, just gaining perspective. I don't know what it's like to be you, but if I could see through your eyes, even for just an instant, if I could experience yourself, because the only self I've ever known is mine. but if I could experience yourself. And as I try to think about that quote, I try to do that. I try to imagine and empathize. And I think that's a really good quote. 3 hobbies or activities that you love. Watching my kids play tennis, you know that. Hiking the Birch Trail. I really gotten to love that. The last couple of days, I really have been feeling kind of weakish, with the little sick thing I got going on here. But I love hiking the Birch Trail, and there are these 2 arches, where trees have fallen down, and they kind of like. You ever played a racing game or Mario Brothers or anything like that, where once you pass through a certain checkpoint, then you get powered up, you get extra time or whatever, and so I love hiking through there, and it's kind of halfway through where you're really tired, and I'll be honest now when I go through it, I've been quiet for like an hour through the woods, and then when the last time I went through the arch, I made the sound wop wop wop, wop 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 wop. How does it go? Make that sound right now. How does it sound when you power up? Um, and the third one here for hobbies or activities is writing. I love to write. I love to write. And that's why I like doing this podcast because I get to write it out first. But I love to write for Facebook posts. I love to write for my own journals and reflections and letters to send to other people. Skill that you're grateful for? Well, you've heard all about my handyman skills, lol. But I guess a skill that I'm grateful for is my ability to make connections with all different types of folks. Um, we had this discussion the other day about book burning and censorship and things like that. And um, I was able to make connections with the different groups of people that were there, but also to try to encourage people to think about the book burners and let's not draw a hard line between each other and try to understand them. And the connections I make with people are a real thing. I guess it's interpersonal, as Howard Gardner would say in his multiple intelligences. It's funny because I don't let many people in, inside for a deeper connection, especially in the last couple of years with COVID and the BRCC kind of fallout. And um, I don't mean to say that my connections are surface, but I don't know. It's a skill I have. I guess that's why I'm a politician. What's one kind? It helps to be that with a teacher too. What's one kind or thoughtful thing someone did for you recently? Well, the day after I mentioned wanting to have a nice bath towel, one showed up for me that is supposed to not get the funky smell. So thank you to my wife, Sarah, for that. Yesterday, I went to read to Leanne's class, and they had made a poster for me that says, "Thank you, Mr. Thomas," with a lot of their writing on it, and little sticky notes and pictures of us. And oh man, I'm about to get teary eyed right now talking about that. But one of my favorites says I'm a great mayor, but it spells it M-E-R, mayor. I'm a great mayor, and that's true because I'm from Bowling Springs and I'm the mayor. All right, who has helped you become the person you are today, and what's the top thing you'd thank them for? That's my dad, man. You know, and what do I thank him for? I thank him for showing up to all the things. For forfeiting the chance to be the chief a couple different times so that he could be there at my little league practices through the day, teaching me things like that's just how the ball bounces, so that I don't get hung up on saying things like you cheated or I got robbed or any of those kinds of things. But it's just like, you know what? Sometimes that's how the ball bounces. And even when you lose, the sun will come up tomorrow, and maybe things you aren't supposed to say anymore. But he would say there'd be a billion people in China that don't even care, don't even know that you played. It would just give me perspective. I'm thankful that he read widely, that he kept a Buddha garden, that he didn't settle for status quo in his reading. Still, he's reading Friedrich Buechner now and passing that along to me. His ability to connect with people over 4 decades and more, but 4 decades as a university police officer, the hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people that continue to say one instant that he was able to bring a smile to their face or bring some type of comfort to them. All different types of people. It doesn't matter. Didn't matter who they were. He's selfless. He likes to be on his couch watching TV. But if somebody called and said, "Hey, I need you to open up my car door," and if it was after hours, he might grumble about it a little bit, but he'd get up and go do it every single time, making things for people that could sell for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but maybe accepting the money that the wood was worth, maybe, and sometimes just giving it. to people. And even as he struggles with cancer, and even as his body is growing weaker and weaker, he's still teaching me. Saying things like pain is inevitable, but suffering is voluntary. Still battling and considering what it means to be human and what it means to impact other people. Yeah, thanks, Dad. How have your spiritual beliefs or practices fulfilled you recently? Um, I just really been thinking about the interconnectedness of all things, and that helps to give me um, good perspective. I've used that word a lot. It'd be one of my top five perspectives. But that breathing in, the ruah, the spirit, as I breathe in, it naturally leads me to a smile now, because I believe that that is what is here for us. That we really do get the Spirit, the capital S Spirit, the great Spirit, the Holy Spirit, whatever you say, the Spirit of the Christ. Like, it's for us, not later, not at some point, not for us to have to do something, but it is here for us. And as I breathe that in, it naturally leads to a smile and a gratitude. What's the best thing that happened so far today? Well, I put on Live Fish, and I was listening to the Commerce City first show from 2022. Sydney sent me a snap from going through the car wash, the first time that she's gone through the car wash while she was driving. She's driving my mom and Sarah up to Statesville today, so her longest trip of driving so far. She gets her license. We've got her appointment set for February 7th. Um, she got her sweatpants on underneath her fancy clothes so she can keep warm, and that was the best thing. And Sarah made me my cachava while I was sitting on the couch all pitiful. So yeah, lots of best things have happened so far, and now I get to do this podcast. Something that inspired or touched me recently, just my kids' resolve, man. Like Isaac, Sydney, Sam, their resolve is remarkable. Oh man, they really do press on. They know they have not achieved the goal, but they press on for what's there for them. They believe, they be live. Yeah. How have you used your talents and abilities recently, and what have you enjoyed about doing that? Oh man, I love being mayor. This is my second year, and I think I'm getting my feet under me. I met this guy who has railed on me. Every time I post a post on Facebook, it's like, yeah, but what about the money for the why? And I'm like, dang, dude, this is a beautiful, thoughtful, inspiring post. But I saw him at the chiropractor the other day, and I knew it was him, and I introduced myself to him, and we made a connection. And he told me he could be a real, I can't say that word. He can be a real jerk on social media, but he appreciates my passion for the town, and now he wants to have lunch. And man, I'm glad about that connection. The encouragement I'm able to give, I was able to buy a bunch of banana pudding and a red sheet velvet cake from a local business and deliver that to the town staff and the fire department as a way to show them I was thankful for them. Like, speaking of that, with my friend Andy Polk, we've developed a plan to draw in local businesses and to support and promote local businesses in town, because that's where this community would stay vibrant. I'm setting up. I've came up with an idea, and in on Thursdays, starting in December, the second Thursday of every month, I'm trying to gather people to just sit around in the town hall and tell stories about what it was like growing up in Boiling Springs, or what it was like growing up anywhere around the area, and just developing a sense of community, strengthening those ties between old companions. I'm calling it. What is it? Telling stories and forgetting time, which is a lyric from Papa's Home. Thanks, Gabe, for that idea. I'm working towards developing stronger relationships with the students at Gardner Webb. I went to this Lord of the Rings talk, which wasn't really about Lord of the Rings. It was mostly about book burning and censorship and things like that. But that was cool to show up and be at that. I went to this play that they put on called Private Lives, and I was able to Instagram message some of those kids that were in that. And yeah, man, I'm excited about using my talents and abilities to be mayor. I like it. I'm sorry, mayor. What have you learned recently that will help you in the future? Oh man, I learned that 2 weeks is too long to not clean. my bathrooms. I don't like it. It's the pink spots in the shower and whatever. I don't remember why I didn't do it last Sunday. I usually do it on Sundays. Last Sunday I didn't for some reason. I don't know why. Um, but yeah, I used to have my own cleaning service, and I've been looking on Amazon or whatever eBay about getting me a used, refurbished type rainbow. And if I do, then I might have to open DT's cleaning service back up. So let me know if you want me to come and clean your house. I don't know. You know, all those prices are going up though, right, Biden? Okay. What made you laugh or smile today? Sydney let me read the first part of her essay that she's been assigned in Mr. Good's class. What are the five most important things? And the first one that she's writing about is hope. And she's using a quote that we've talked about. Sarah and I met in Dr. Karskad's philosophy class, and he asked the question, he posed the question, what is more real? What is or what ought to be? And his answer was, what ought to be is more real because it will be. And Sydney took that quote, and she's a beautiful writer, man. She's really talented. And then we talked about Good's response and how much he likes her writing as well, and we got a good smile and laugh out of that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep going. Let's go. What's the last song you heard or that you enjoyed, and how did it make you feel, and why? When I was typing this up, it was "Blaze On" by Fish, of course. Listening to that Commerce City show, and they've got a thing on Fish Radio this weekend or the Thanksgiving weekend, where you can record an audio file and send it in about what Fish music has meant. And I went to the Big Cypress show down on the Indian reservation, down in Big Cypress Seminole Indian Reservation, down in Florida near the Everglades. I went there for the Y2K show, biggest rock and roll concert ever, greatest. And I didn't listen to Fish much after that for a variety of reasons. And when the pandemic hit and I had some health issues starting in 2000, um, I started listening to them again because I got XM with my Camry, and so I was listening to Fish Radio and hearing all this new music. And Blaze On is a song about messing up, and you can take three wrong turns and it still makes a right. Like don't give up kind of stuff. But then it's just super jazzy and groovy, and it just so I can't really describe how it makes me feel. But even then, as I was about to record, I was still listening to that show in my earpods, and the song Ruby Waves came on, and it reminded me that my friend Delaney is working on a piece of art for me that kind of will encapsulate my mental health struggles and achievements and goals and hopes and dreams. And um, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to show it to you once I get it. She's the best, man. What's one thing you experienced recently that made you feel a sense of wonder or awe? I told you about giving Isaac the immunity necklace. I've got mine on right here. And I let him read the language of the turtles, and I've got this picture of him just sitting on the rock that I sit on, and he's reading it, and I know that his wheels are turning. And yeah, that gave me a sense of wonder and awe. What's the best thing about your home, and have you taken time to enjoy it recently? The new living room setup. Yeah, man. Me and Isaac, we hung up the big giant TV. That was a thing. Getting that TV in the back of the van and even out of the Walmart and all that kind of stuff, and it barely fit as we tried to. But Isaac and I mounted that thing on the wall, and we opened up the whole space, and we've got this sectional couch, and we all sit on the couch, all four of us at this time, and we watch Jeopardy, and they watched Wheel of Fortune. Game's overrated to me, but we watch college basketball or football, or we watch The Voice. The Voice is really something. We have a really good time watching it. Kind of, yeah, I mean, we shouldn't be making fun of people, but that's what The Voice is for, right? We watch Survivor, all those kinds of things. And soon Sam will be home to join us and take his spot on the couch, and for Thanksgiving break and then Christmas break. And so yeah, I'm glad about that. What's improved about your life from this time last year? My perspective. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. I've talked about it. I'm hoping to let go more and more. What choices have you made in the last 5 years that you'd thank yourself for making? Getting healthy, stopping putting things in my body that are not good for my body. Um, Being more conscious about exercise and sleep and food and hydration and meditation and solitude and all that. Yeah. What's something you're looking forward to in the future? Certainly Hilton Head 10, HHX, about to get my tat with the Frasers. Um, we go down on January 15th weekend, so this will be our 10th year of doing that with our dearest friends. And I'm also looking forward to going to the birth. My friend Nathan Rouse puts on a play called The Birth. It's a Christmas play. It's just three monologues, really, is what it consists of the innkeeper, the shepherd, and the wise man. I don't think in that order, but it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's based on Frederick Buechner's writings, and of course, it hadn't been able to be in production the last couple of years. And Frederick Buechner passed away this year, and so we've already gotten our tickets, and I can't wait. December 15th. Um, you should go. Let me know if you're interested because I can tell you where to get tickets, or I'll get them for you. It's that good. I'll be glad to pay for your way. What's something you witnessed recently that reminded you that life is good? As I was reading yesterday, there's this little second grade girl, and she has a hard time with language. It's difficult sometimes to understand her words, but I read three books to him yesterday because I stayed for about 45 minutes, I guess. And we read one about being president, and then we read one called Sour Grape where we made all our squishy faces, and that was the best. I love that one. But then she wanted me to read one called, what was it? Like an old woman that had swallowed a pie or a pot and turkey. Like this old woman just like eats everything for Thanksgiving, and she just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And after each one is like, will she die? You know? And Katie had the whole thing memorized. It was her book, and as I was reading it, I read faster and faster because it repeats all the things that she has eaten along the way. And Katie was mumbling those words all the whole time. And it was just, I mean, it was beautiful, man. The other kids it didn't bother them. Oh, God. It was just so beautiful. And I would pause, at the point where, at that refrain, will she die? Or however it goes. And Katie would say it. That was good. What's the most beautiful thing you saw today? My girls all dressed up for their fancy tea party. um, Even with Sydney's sweatpants. What's the last thing you enjoyed with your senses? Oh, I meant to take this one out. A good meal, a song you love, aromatherapy. I got my lavender and cedarwood aromatherapy candle going right now. I'm drinking my rooibos and ginger tea. The songs I listen to. Smells are a big thing for me. I told you I got that reverse COVID. I meant to take that one out. I didn't really have an answer for that one. What movie, book, blog, or article affected your life for the better recently? Just a couple more. We got four more counting this one. I've been reading Thich Nhat Hanh's, what is it called? I got it right here. It's called Your True Home, The Everyday Wisdom of Thich Nhat Hanh. So it's just a very short paragraph, and I read it before I do my morning routine. I'm almost finished with Richard Rohr's book called Simplicity, The Freedom of Letting Go, and that's been really impactful for me. In fact, I did it. I ordered Rohr's book on the Enneagram. I really don't even know who I am anymore. Um, but I guess I'm about to find out. Smirk. Wendell Berry, The Need to Be Whole. Not what I had expected, and yet just phenomenal and fascinating and thought provoking. And I think I need to get into his fiction. I've never read Berry's fiction. I read an article from 2011 that Ron Rash had written about David Thompson and blowing up the boiling spring with dynamite and all that kind of stuff, and that was cool. And I found a blog about some salted caramel pumpkin pie that I'm probably going to be making either tomorrow or Monday. Three more. What's your favorite thing about your bed, and how often does it enable you to get restful sleep? I went to see this play at Gardner Webb, and it was called Private Lives. And the actors, the two lead actors, were really good. They drove the play, and but there's one scene where the guy is trying to get comfortable by arranging all the pillows he was lying on a couch, and it made me LOL. I did chuckle out loud in the theater because I know what that's like. I told y'all 45, man. But so anyway, I've got this memory foam bed, and I do like it, and I've got my pillows set up just right. I know how to construct them and where to put the pillow under my legs or under my back and all this kind of stuff. So I really have been sleeping well most of the time. You've got to sleep. So important. Um, Next to last, the penultimate question. What's something you have easy access to that always improves your mood, and how has it improved your life? And that's music. I've got Apple Music. I've got Amazon Music. I've got uh, live fish. I've got Sirius XM. Oh man, I love it. I love it. Um, all kinds of music. Fish takes up most of my time, but Avett Brothers, I'm getting ready to make my 45 mix here pretty soon. Music. It makes me glad. Makes me think. Makes me ponder. Um, I like the jams and Fish and the Dead or whatever like that take me places, and I'm not engaging my verbal mind. Um, yeah. Last one. Have you recently imagined a worst case scenario that didn't actually happen? Yes. Yes. I'm really good at that. I'm really good at that. I should have talked about it in my talents. I've imagined a lot of worst case scenarios that didn't actually happen, but I'll tell you what, like, this is the thing. I'm not there. I still want to control. I still want to clinch. I still want to hang on. But my fists are a little less tight. My breath is a little bit easier. You know, I'm 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 making progress towards letting my mind believe. That what ought to be will be. So yeah. Well, this has been a Church of Six production. My five plus you. You're the sixth. Maybe I'm yours. Because we do this together. We got to wade through it all. The joys and the fears and the regular. Brought to you by the Bucket of Life, which has been iced over a couple times this week. By the Wall of Belief, the Foundation Tower of Stone, by the Magic Rock, and by the Token of Hope. This too shall pass. Don't forget to believe and be live. Peace, my friends.